So I know that the time slot is quite a daunting experience between the coffee break and the lunch, but we have a very good panel. So I'll call on stage, of course, Andrea, Andreas, Christophe, and Sean. And you will see that this question is a tough question. In La Parisienne, just to give you some background, we are founded 2 centuries ago. And we now consider ourselves as a full digital insurer because we decided to move our IT into API and to develop our blockchain. And we see ourselves in a B2B2C model as a provider of capital between reinsurer and final distributors to eradicate pain points that traditional insurer, that's now I'm becoming provocative, are not addressing. So, with my panel, I'll let you introduce yourself into 30 seconds to 1 minute before entering into tough questions. So maybe you can start, Andrea.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Andrea Veltri, Deputy CEO in Italy for BNP Paribas Cardif. Actually, I have a long experiences in other industries, which helps a lot to see insurance from outside in, let's say. I come from automotive, so not a pure insurer. BNP Paribas Cardif in Italy is quite one of a kind because we are a B2B insurer, the 4th bank insurer in Italy, but with a strong focus on customer experience, which is not normal for a B2B, actually. So it's in between from a traditional and digital one.
Christophe?
Morning, I'm Christophe de Cacqueray. I'm working at Covéa, one of the leading private lines insurer in France, and I'm responsible for new businesses playing in a field quite similar to yours as we try and develop these new businesses through B2B2C models. So trying to find partners, either big or small, with a nice value proposition that could go alongside the insurance one.
Andreas?
Morning, everyone. Andrea Schertzinger. I'm the CEO of iptiQ EMEA P&C by Swiss Re. iptiQ are the primary insurance companies of Swiss Re. We have those in now about 10 markets, the US, a couple of European markets, Australia, and soon in Asia. I'm running the P&C business in EMEA. By background, I'm in computational statistics, so I'm really happy that finally the importance but also the limitations of data and processing data are arriving in insurance.
And Sean?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sean Ringsted. I'm the Chief Digital Officer for Chubb. And for those who don't know Chubb, we're the world's largest publicly traded property and casualty insurer. And we operate in 54 countries. And we do everything from a nickel taxi ride in Singapore to protecting some of the largest multinational companies. So we span the spectrum here in terms of looking after our clients on the risk spectrum.
Thanks for the presentation. So first question, what is the difference, honestly for me it's not clear, between a traditional insurer and a full stack digital insurer? And maybe Christophe, we can have your point of view on that topic.
Well, if you were to come and work for traditional insurer, I'm sure you'll see the difference pretty quickly. Basically, the main difference is in our ability. I'll put it in a quite negative way, which is probably not very cool, but at least transparent. Our ability to be agile and provide truly digital self-care solutions to our customers is limited and is very costly, and that's in my view the main difference between the two. There's also probably a lot to be said on the cultural side as well, and I think the mindset of our colleagues in InsurTech and our mindset are not rooted in the same DNA. And probably if we were to look at figures as well, and that I think puts the challenge very clearly, if we were just to look at the expense ratio that we traditional insurers have in comparison with other competitors of ours, being either the InsurTechs but also bank insurance, bank assurance in France, you'd probably find a 6-time difference in expense ratio. And I think, in my view, that clearly defines the differences that we can see between both worlds.
Okay, very interesting point. Maybe Andrea?
I actually have a slightly different view. I don't think that the difference will be in the digital touch points. I mean, traditional insurer will have astonishing application, maybe with a worse customer experience than pure digital one. Probably that will all look the same because will be all made by Accenture. So, but they have mean to create astonishing digital touch points. The point to me that pure digital player will reinvent the model. That's what they are doing. They are using a combination of digital, data, IoT, smartwatch, in order to recreate another model. So traditional one will be focused on paying claims and doing some prevention, where pure digital player will shift the value chain, will focus more on prevention, on customer experience before the claim. Okay. So their promise will be different. Will be not, I'll pay you after you get sick. Will be, I'll do my best to keep you healthy, and then eventually I'll pay if I fail my main promises. So I think that will be the main difference. Will be in the business model, actually.
Okay, interesting. Other point of view on that topic?
I would say there is probably a digital insurer would be paper-free. Yeah. This doesn't mean everything is done online. It could be, I think, AXA, the colleagues of AXA make great progress in, for example, handing tablets to agents and having them operate and conclude a policy on the tablet. So that qualifies for me as paper-free. Secondly, data-driven is important, and that goes beyond the traditional, if you will, actuarial science. But what do I know about a customer, and what's my next best action? And I use all the data I have to determine what is my next best action. So data driven, and then I think a lot is about a very modern and evolving platform. And platform, it's not only about IT. At least in my view, there is processes and there is mindset around it, or culture, I think, as you said. And so how can we continue to evolve that? Because what's digital today may not be digital or modern tomorrow. And all of that to then create really exciting customer experiences.
And maybe you are using APIs or blockchain to do it?
So we're microservice-based, API-based, cloud-only. Blockchain, I have a bit of a, say, balanced view.
Okay, we will talk about it later. And Sean, what's your point of view on that question?
I would anchor it this way, and think about going back to what Jonas was saying this morning: the what, why, and how. And it's what do we do as insurers? And there's a lot of talk on the front end, right? But just actually what we do is it's the paying the claim, right? And that's the fundamental promise that we bring is to pay the claim, and to do that well at a time in need. And so you need to be able to bring that experience to the front. And certainly at Chubb, we place so much emphasis on paying that claim, in the right way at the right point in time. And I think some of these engagement models are good. Mm-hmm. I think the jury's out, right? Whether the customer actually wants to engage that much with the insurer. But what you've got to do well and do it right at that time in need is to pay the claim. And that hasn't changed. And I think what digital brings, as you go through, if you work it from the back, it brings you some advantages in how you do that. Obviously, you want to do that efficiently and effectively. It'll never be, in my view, truly digital. There'll always be a human touch in this, right? And then you go to the front end, and I think the digital insurers, in inverted commas, or digital techniques, have been very helpful that way in terms of, if you will, modernizing that front end experience. Right, customers expect that digital service, and we think about the difficulty of or the ease of use in terms of buying a policy and making that easier, and and that's fine. But we should never lose sight of that, that why we're here, and that fundamental premise of what insurance is, right? Being there to protect the customer, the policyholder, right, at that point in time.
Okay, very clear. So at La Parisienne, what we see as a digital insurer is to provide access to services with automation, automatic triggers, and try to speed up things, in fact, in a B2B2C way for customers. And you mentioned the expense ratio. It is very important also to have the standard. And that's how we see also the evolution between InsurTechs, insurers. So for us, there is no more InsurTechs. There is now digital insurer. So that's how we see things. But it leads me to the second question, which is the digital transformation. So, Sean, you were mentioning some very interesting points. We were talking about the human side. So, what is for you the digital transformation? How can you summarize it, and what actions can you show us as examples?
Sure. Well, for one, I'm very careful not to use the word T, the transformation word, because I think that sets expectations too high, right? You're just not going to happen overnight. So we're focused in three areas. You can think about sort of the back office operations, if you will, and elimination of paper as an example, but just doing the simple things, we like to say, effectively, and freeing people up. We think about the use of data and analytics to help underwriting and claims and the decision making there. And then you think about I think the really interesting part is customer facing in terms of the product that we're providing to the customer and the ease of use in that. So a couple of simple examples, right? I mean, if you take claims, yes, we can automate, some of the friction points out of claims. But the example I like to give is 2 years ago during the hurricanes in Florida. We answered 99% of our calls in less than 2 seconds.
Okay, very interesting.
Okay. Not one of them was by a robot, right? It was by a person, and the reason is, at that point of distress, right? You want to have empathy, right? Are you okay? Is your family okay? Can I get a first responder there, etc. So all of this, I think, digital, I describe it as underpinned by human touch. So as I go through our work efforts, right, it's really a balance, right? You're not putting in digital for digital's sake, but you're keeping an emphasis on that human touch, and it's the same on the front end, right? Yeah, people get frustrated. They want to make an endorsement on their policy, right? They want to change their address. Just do that easily, right? But if you want to be able to walk through your coverages, right, you want to have somebody there. So I think what digital powers, whether it's the claims piece or whether it's the policy piece, it's what I'd call an omni-channel experience, right? And so you want that blend.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Andrea.
Well, I really agree with Sean that innovation and transformation has to be everywhere. I mean, we have to do everything in a different way. Actually, we took really the wrong way at the beginning. To us internally, we created a division of digital transformation under marketing department, which didn't work. Actually, we're trying to push transformation top down. We transformed our company into. I don't know if you're familiar with Toy Story. If you have kids, sure. Slink the dog. So we were the head was going in a way, but the butt stayed there. So it was a nightmare. Now digital transformation is a transversal function. I'm deputy CEO, so it means that I have to push transformation all around the company, mainly as a matter of culture. I find very interesting to shift from a hierarchical approach into a more distributed approach. We created a community, which is called We Are Innovation. So in our organization chart, there is a community with no people, everybody can jump in or stay out. You who want to be involved in digital transformation, just apply. And we use this community to co-create, to test product, to really involve from the top management to the very lowest level on a voluntary base. And this is helping a lot in transforming the mindset of the people, which is actually it's down to front the client.
Yeah. Christophe?
In quite a similar fashion to what our competitors do, we've applied a huge transformation program throughout the company. I think we've never had in the history of our three brands such a big program, and basically the objectives are to digitize pretty much everything, either to make customers' lives simpler or to lower our expense ratio. However, I'm totally with Sean when he highlights the importance of this human touch, and we might be here again in 10 years, and the questions will be how you, digital insurer, can keep this human touch and do as if. I mean, to counterbalance the words that I had initially, I think our main asset is our people. We've got a lot of people, and we've got a huge capacity to help our customers, which is something that fintechs struggle to do. We all have in mind the example of Lemonade, for instance, hiring Denarially to try and recreate to some extent artificially this human relationship between the company and the customer. Yeah, basically, I've in my previous jobs, I've done a lot of interviews of people out there in the streets, and to understand their relationship with their insurer. And basically, they are only two things that they're after. The first one is simplicity, and the second is trust. And a lot of the time, the way people find their way to get those two things is not through having the most digital or a shiny insurer, but just having this cousin or brother or uncle working in insurance, and he does everything for me. I don't have even to think about my insurance, and so. Being human, simply having people, that's probably the best way to get this pain out of our customers' minds. And I think that's our main strength, and that's what we need to leverage most.
Okay, interesting point. Andreas, what do you think about it?
So we probably have a bit of a different challenge. We're currently serving about 30 to 40 distribution partners, digital insurance products. Those distribution partners are insurance companies who want more digital products off the shelf, or affinity distributors, if you will. We do that out of 5 companies, and all of those 5 companies, we have been building greenfield, so always a full greenfield technology and process stack. So for us, the challenge is not how to fix legacy. The challenge is how to avoid future legacy. So one, converging to sort of a more general blueprint according to which we are running our platforms. And then secondly, how do we prioritize constant innovation and evolution of, say, new features? So should we, for example, build in or improve the chatbots we're running? Which technology is best suited? Which languages should they be capable of? Same goes for the good old topic of OCR. And every day there's a new solution out there. So I think our challenge is really how do we keep up and how do we prioritize those new features and investment into them.
Okay, thanks. And at La Parisienne, our vision is that the market is transforming and we have B2B2C partners. So the way we see things is to provide them tools. We have what we call a bespoke portal so that we can take the commitment to develop new products in less than 10 weeks and to address it very efficiently. And when you're a partner, you can see everything from the project management side to the control of your loss ratio and the way you do business with us. So this transparency is very important. And in the end, what we build is tailor-made product. So the trust side is also very important. That's how we see things. And it leads me to the third question. It might be a cliche, but do you see InsurTech, GAFAM or BATX as a threat for traditional or even digital insurers? Maybe in 1 minute, your point of view on that topic. Maybe Andreas, you want to start?
I think it's a great petri dish of innovation, which obtains typically fantastic funding to experiment and learn, which is not as fluid in the usual corporate And also the environment for that experimentation and learning is not as commonly as open in a typical corporation. I don't want to speak of any of the colleagues here, but I think just in general. But ultimately, insurance is about a brand. Insurance is about a long breath, right? You make promises for many years out. That means you need a lot of capital that is sitting on the balance sheet, and therefore, especially in life insurance, I would say that incumbents will win. And in P&C insurance, the investments to keep up with technology, with IoT, with all those new opportunities are significant. So I think InsurTech is fantastic, but less in terms of providing a full end-to-end insurance company in the future. There might be exceptions, but more to help traditional insurers innovate.
Shen, do you agree with that?
I do. I would answer it by going back a little bit of history and looking ahead. I mean, the insurance industry is an incredibly competitive place, right? It's not like a sleepy group of companies. I mean, if you go back 20, 30 years, some of the names have completely changed, right? So insurance has always been competitive, and so welcome, right? I mean, that's great if there's different set of companies, different approach, bringing competition. But certainly at Chubb, we welcome the competition. It what makes us better, okay. And we're pretty, we're confident we can succeed in what we call the digital age. The other point I'd make too, it's not a fixed piece of pie,
okay.
Right? If you look at the demand over the next 3-5 years, etc., for insurance type products, right? Whether you're looking at healthcare, whether you're looking at aging, whether you're looking at food shortage and crop, etc., right? Look at cyber, right? And the range of products that's out there to meet some of the risks that are there, right? We're not starting with a fixed set of products, and those are being cannibalized. So there's a tremendous amount of opportunity there, and I think InsurTech brings a different approach and a different way of thinking, and some of them will be competitors. Fantastic, great, and I hope they succeed, and some of them will be partners. But I think the ultimate winners in all of this will be the customer, right? Because we're going to make that customer experience better. We should be providing better digital product to the customer, and we should be meeting the demand that's there for new types of products. So certainly at Chubb, we're very, very excited about what's ahead.
Okay, thanks. Andrea, your viewpoint?
I think it depends on what kind of insurer you want to be. I think that the market in the long run will polarize on two business models. On one side, you will have giant incumbent, very focused on the risk management and claims. And on the other, you will have those who will reinvent the model, say. The first will try to, in a certain way, to collaborate with GAFAM, but because they need size, they need front end, they need volumes. And InsurTech will be just like a pain, say. For the second one, we want to reinvent the model. On the contrary, I think that the InsurTech will be true partners. That we will cooperate a lot with them. And on the other side, fear, GAFAM, so it depends. There's room for everybody. We will have two different models. Will be more and more separated.
Yeah. Okay. And Christophe?
It's just my take on it, but insurance is about math, data, and law. And because it's based on law, you'll always have argument with your customers about should a claim be paid or not. And this destroys your brand equity in a great way. So it's very difficult to be loved when you're an insurer by your customers. Those companies you've mentioned, their main asset is their brand, or that's a massive asset for them. Why would they come and get this brand equity blown up just by doing insurance and mobilizing capital for low return? I'm not sure that has to be a strategic direction for them.
Maybe to pay claims faster. Maybe in one sentence. So in 5 years, do you think traditional insurers will survive?
Hope not, actually. Also because they pay much higher wages than digital ones. But no. But I think that will transform. So as I said, I'm pretty sure of this bimodal business model in the future. So I think that traditional insurer will be more similar to utilities.
Okay.
So much bigger, fewer.
Okay, we take the answer. It's a 10 seconds. Yeah, no, sorry.
Strong headwinds for private lines. I'm not so worried on commercial, not so worried for mass affluent people either, where it's more complex. So.
Optimistic too. Okay.
Yeah, very. I'm
Andreas?
paid by a traditional insurer. I have to be.
Yeah.
I would think insurers ultimately follow the customer preferences and needs they serve. And the question they have to answer, and probably answer differently individually, is when do they resolve channel conflicts and enforce portfolio conflicts? So when do they start eroding existing volume, if you will, for the sake of the future?
Okay. Chen?
Traditional, they'll be here. They'll be here. They'll be better. They'll do things differently. They'll learn on the front end how to simplify things for the customer. But I think ultimately they rely on their core strength, and that is to pay claims when a customer needs them. And that's certainly how Chubb thinks about it, and we're very confident we'll succeed.
Okay, thanks a lot. Do we have time for a question? No? Okay. So thanks a lot.